This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the Good Neighbors Podcast. Today, we have a good neighbor on. It's Steve Tschanz from Truly Nolen Pest Control. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Sean. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How's the weather back there with that white picket fence? That looks like where I want to be.
Yeah, it's quite nice actually where we are. We're out of Newmarket here, our office, so it's quite nice out here today. So surprisingly nice. But
right after we finish this podcast, I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm getting off this chair. I'm going right into my closet. I'm getting my running clothes on. I'm grabbing my dog, and we're going to boot out there for a little 5K run.
Right. Very nice.
So that should be a lot of fun. Love being out there, especially when we're getting a taste of this nice weather. It's getting exciting.
Well, I think it'll be seasonal next week. So, yeah.
We'll see what happens. Let's keep her positive. I've had the opportunity of sitting down with you and checking out your place down there in Newmarket. Why don't we tell our listeners a little bit about your business?
All right. Truly Nolen Pest Control. It's a franchise system. It started in Tucson, Arizona, actually, and it's been growing for 70 plus years. It's the original owner, founder, his name was Truly Nolen, and he started down there. They started franchising in Canada about 15 years ago, and there's a master franchise. Their office is in Oakville, and I've been servicing the York and Simcoe regions for the last 5 years.
Fantastic. And so what is your specialty? So it seems you guys have been around for a long time, got great history. I had the chance to peruse and refresh myself again on the website. But why don't we go do a little deep dive on what you guys offer?
Well, we offer general pest control. Rodent control. That's our main thing, our focus. We do a lot of residential pest control. Our Four Seasons program is our go-to program. It's a year-long program for residents. We solve any issues for the most part, from bed bugs to rodents to mosquitoes to flies, ants, spiders. We're there for everyone. Termites we can do as well. I am licensed for termites. There are not a lot of termites in our neck of the woods, but there are termites in Canada. There's 3 or 4 pockets in Ontario, Guelph, down by the beaches in Toronto. I think a small pocket in Ancaster, up in Grey County or Bruce County. There's an area up there as well, and so they're here, but we don't. Truly Nolen actually started out in the States with termites as the backbone for them, so we know how to solve the issues, but we don't have as many up here in Canada. Right.
Yeah, definitely annoying when you have a problem. I'm kind of a little scared to see. I had these. I think they're hornets. They're bees with fat butts, and they had white stripes.
Sounds like a bald-faced hornet. Yeah.
A bald-faced hornet, and it looked like they were kind of coming out of the mud a little bit. So I've got this issue now where I took down a couple pieces of what was on my dying poplar. Hate that tree. and then I didn't have anything to do with it. Plus I was super busy last year, so I just dumped everything on the side, and I know I need to go out there sooner rather than later than not wait too long for things to fester where I'm going to have all kinds of problems. I might have to give you guys a call because I don't want to step on the wrong thing, and next thing you know, I'm getting peppered by hornets or something.
Right. No, fair enough. We can help you with that for sure.
Wonderful. So what's popular? Not popular, but what do you guys get a lot of calls of, especially recently? Maybe up here in the Simcoe County region. I remember I don't know if it was a different pest control or it might have actually been one of your guys in the trucks when I originally first came across you guys. I was outside in front of my girlfriend's flower shop.
Right. Yes.
And we had a little, I'm like, yo, what's pop? I'm just curious by nature, right? And he said it was like rats, that rats were actually like a thing. And I was like, really? Get out of here.
Yeah. Well, we do it. It's all seasonal, right? Right now I'm getting some calls for flies because cluster flies are waking up, and with this unseasonal weather, warm weather, we're getting a lot of flies in the homes. More so in rural places, right?
Right.
I'm getting calls for ants. Ants are early this year because of the temperatures as well. And rodents, they haven't stopped all season. They normally will pick up in the fall and get in, but if they're warm and they're moving around still outside because of the temperatures, and we're still getting a lot of calls there. It will be obviously when the weather does finally break after this next cold spell or whatever. Spiders will be a big call. We do a lot of spider work.
Okay.
So come into the spring. Yep.
Yeah.
And then mosquitoes and the such.
Spiders. We'll move on from that. All right. So why don't you tell our listeners about your journey? How and why did you get into the type of work that you do?
Well, I've been I'm a graduate of University of Guelph in horticulture originally, and part of my training was pest control with regard to mostly focused on plants, but I did dabble in the other areas. I learned about it. I had to take entomology when I was at school, so I was knowledgeable in this area. I started out in lawn care, and then I ventured into pest control because the company I was working for, what became the master franchise for Truly Nolen, as I said, 15 years ago.
Right.
And so I was involved with it from the beginning, but I decided to become a franchisee about 5 years ago. So that's my journey.
Yo, give me like the craziest shit you've ever came across when you were doing your job, when you were in the field, where you just came across and it was just like a crazy experience for you.
Just a couple different things. One, it'd be going into a rooming house and just bed bugs and cockroaches everywhere.
Oh, man.
So
shit.
I think the cockroaches were living off of the bed bugs, but it was pretty intensive, and we went after with our vacuums and then treated, and we got it under control.
Very cool. Very cool. But like, I'm sure you guys see, I mean, we're talking about rodents, we're talking about problems, people obviously getting that sense of relief after you guys come in and do a good job, because you guys do a great job. But I'm sure that sometimes it can be an unpleasant experience. I had a hospice company for animals on earlier today, and some people do jobs that are more uplifting, I guess, than others. And we certainly appreciate those jobs and products and services that people do offer that are, more challenging or kind of less desired from that aspect. How do you guys keep your passion? What keeps you guys going to, have to go into kind of something crazy like that and keep going?
Oh, it's very satisfactory with the fact that when we finish our job, the homeowner is actually happy. We've got a good job. They have a big smile on their face because we're there and we're actually helping them so that they can live a nice, normal life. It just makes you feel good inside that you're helping them out for a problem that they have.
So short-term pain for some long-term gain.
Yeah, that's right.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Are there any like misconceptions or any like myths that you kind of come across from people in your line of work?
Well, depending on like mosquito treatment, it's something that's becoming more popular all the time, and it's almost impossible. Like they'll expect you to do one treatment, or a lot of homeowners will expect one treatment, and they'll expect absolutely every mosquito to be gone after that treatment. And mosquitoes, it's virtually impossible to because you're treating the outside environment. Mosquitoes fly. You won't be able to do 100% control of those mosquitoes you can do an amazing job at knocking down the populations, but 100% control is virtually impossible. It's you can do a really good job, and we do a really good job, but things like that, it's difficult. And it also depends on where the environment that people live in. If they live in a forest or side a river or in a cedars everywhere, they're going to be, it's more difficult as well.
Right. I mean, education is really the key at the end of the day. When people are educated on stuff, it goes a long way to understand, like, and I guess some of it's common sense too, right? Like,
yep.
Mosquitoes fly, they sit in the trees, they're deep in the grass, they're like all over the place. And so for someone to think that every single one would be exterminated, plus they fly a decent distance as well too. There's that as well, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, when you're not fighting bugs, and helping people live better lives, and you're in your personal life, Steve, what do you like to do for fun?
Well, I in the winters I curl. So that's what I do for fun. I enjoy getting out there yelling at getting people to sweep harder and things like that. Yeah, I enjoy that. So
nice. You the skip?
I skip on one league, and I'm second in another league.
Oh, so very cool.
I get yelled at as well. So
yeah, I had my parents have been big curling fans. My grandmother's a massive curling fan. All my family pretty much is from out in Winnipeg. So
okay, big
Western
curling
Canada,
out there. Yeah.
Curling's really, really popular because there's nothing to do in the wintertime other than hockey. But it's a great sport, and I got to go watch my parents curl. It was like watching paint dry a little bit, but I got the biggest pleasure out of trying to watch my dad. My dad's 5'9". He's got the big barrel right up the front, and trying to watch him get down and bend in ways that his body is not used to be bending. I got the biggest kick out of it. Right. But the level of skill that goes into that, man, it's crazy hard.
It looks easy on TV, but it's a different thing when you actually get to doing it. That's right.
And so do you get to curl all year round, or are there other stuff you like to do in the summertime?
Well, summertime, I like to get out golfing, but I'm usually a bit too busy to be golfing. But that's sort of my summer passion. I've recently started, or not a lot, but I'm interested in doing more of some disc golfing as well. So that's kind of nice.
Nice. I like throwing a Frisbee. We have a disc golf place, like 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk from here. And I heard on the news that they're thinking of maybe relocating that to the south end. And I haven't got to try it yet. I'm fearful I'm going to try it, and then they're going to move the whole thing. But supposedly there's a bunch of poison ivy in there. I've had poison ivy other than last year, 4 years in a row prior to that. So kind of a little hesitant with some of that stuff. But I'm also a big golf fan as well, too. I watch the Masters religiously, have every year since I was 14 years old. And this year I'm going to not miss it, but we had a trip that was planned outside of our control within the company we work for, going down to Punta Cana for 5-6 days. And
very nice.
The Masters weekend. So I'm going to be, if I could have a TV in the pool with a couple beers, I'll be there all day for like 3-4 days. And especially on Sunday, watching the back nine, 100%. So can you describe maybe a hardship that you've ever gone through, Steve? People go through these throughout the course of their life, hardships, challenges. Sometimes life has dealt us a deck of cards, let's call it, something outside of our control. But, it's that resilience that people have when we get to go and rise from that occasion. We look back at it, makes us better human beings.
I think it's probably the one I keep coming back to is when I was fairly fresh out of school. I had taken a job as a salesman for a greenhouse company, and it was not the best thing. I learned that my sales skills at the time were not the best, and I had to swallow my pride, and I was let go at that job, and I learned techniques that I was using were not the smartest, and being more, I was never really lying to anyone, but I was not I wasn't giving the complete truth either. So I learned that the honesty is the best thing about policy when you're doing all that kind of stuff. And I do that when I'm talking to customers and letting them know that this is what you're to expect. It's not going to be an overnight success story on certain things, depending on what we're doing. And, so, but we'll get the job done.
100%. Like, I feel in this day and age, like, education is the best way to sell people and let them make that decision for themselves, because if the value exceeds the price that's offered, they're buying every time.
That's right. No, absolutely.
Is there anything or one thing that you wish that people knew about your business?
We're there to serve them. We're always honest, friendly. We will be there, if not tomorrow, the next day, kind of thing. For if they call in, we're there to serve.
Wonderful. Well, it was really nice to reconnect with you because it's been a little while. I definitely want to be living in your background forever because it looks absolutely like the perfect day with that white picket fence. And really enjoyed the conversation. Great business, great person. I can say that I've spent more than just the time that we've had on the show today. I've actually sat down with Steve and really got to know his business, and I can back it up. If you are ever having a problem with anything pest related, you can rely on Steve and his team. They'll definitely be able to give you a great product and a great service to handle all your needs. So thank you again, Steve, for coming on the show. Really
thank you, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Anytime.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.